Hey everybody, Bobby Cannon back with you again for session number 3 of my podcast. Today I'm going to touch base on a couple of things here a little bit, and I didn't want to veer off course too much, but after dealing with some stuff for the past week, I've got to get this off my chest, and I've just got to go at it the only way I know how to. So here we go. Today I'm going to be talking about the ever-looming facts for data centers and for the IP addresses that we hold. And it's not IPv6. I'll get into that later at a much later date. But like I said, I'm going to talk about Blacklist and how they can make you want to pull your hair out if you had any, which I don't, so it doesn't really matter. But anyways, this past week I had the hardest time with a client of mine who is not a spammer. I made sure it's actually a pretty large software company. And for some reason, their IPs got blacklisted through Spamhaus, and going through the whole process of trying to get everything set up and get everything done with Spamhaus, it really made me realize that we have a gigantic problem in this industry, and that problem being that there are so many blacklists out there. And there's so many different organizations and different companies and different, hardware pieces using so many different blacklists that is it's mind-blowing when you really think about it. So let me just go ahead and get going on this, because the client of mine got blacklisted through Spamhaus. Now, I have much respect for Spamhaus. I think, number one, they're one of the leading organizations when it comes to blacklisting stuff and actually keeping legitimate spam out of your inbox. Number two, they're pretty easy to work with. They don't try to extort money out of you or anything else like some of the other ones out there. So I don't have a problem with Spamhaus. Spamhaus is pretty decent to work with. What I do have a problem with, though, is the sheer number of these things out there. And it's mind-boggling how one company or one organization will use one, another one will use another, and it's like, how is this happening? So again, this is my opinion. It's not based on the company, NetStream Communications, nothing of that. This is solely my opinion, and so I'm fixing to go really deep into this, and I might make some people kind of irritated or mad or something. I'm not trying to do that, but what I am trying to do is get the word out that maybe, hey, if you've ever seen that movie Despicable Me with the guy when he's sitting there, light bulb, I've got one. Why is there not an organizational unit or something out there that oversees this whole massive thing of blacklist? I mean, you've got Sorbs, you've got SpamCop, you've got Spamhaus, you've got Cisco's got their new Cinder-based stuff out, which is I actually like. It's actually a pretty decent product on how they do it, and I love it. That's how I actually go in and check a lot of stuff. But then you've got the dreaded ones, which I've had to deal with these morons before with UCE Protect, which is basically a bunch of extortion people who will extort. They tell you have to pay to get off their list, which is in my case is anyways, I don't want to go into that. But you've got all these different blacklists. Okay, so you've got I don't even know how many there are. I'm not going to go count them. If somebody knows them, you can email me bcannon@netstreamcom.net, or go check out my new website, bobbycannon.me, and you can also email me at bcannon or bobbycannon@bobbycannon.me. Hey, there you go. Get the little pitch in there for real quick. But anyway, so getting back on topic, like I said, I like Spamhaus. I think they're a great organization, what they do. So here's my question. Why is it that companies out there nowadays still use these off-the-wall backwater scamming mafia blacklists, that force people to pay? I mean, are companies getting a piece of that action, or what's going on? I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. It doesn't make any sense to me. I think what needs to happen, and again, totally my opinion, I think that all the blacklists that are out there in the world need to be merged into one giant one giant company, organization, whatever you want to call it, and that entity needs to control the blacklist listings out there in the world. Because let's be honest with you, okay? If you've ever had to go through Sorbs which is a joke in my honest opinion, or UCE Protect, you know how hard it is to get off those lists. Barracuda Networks. I actually run Barracudas here in the data center. We actually, all our email gets filtered through a Barracuda. Barracuda has their own blacklist. That's fine and dandy. Whatever. Their process is pretty easy if somebody is, blatantly misusing it. But that's fine. Barracuda's all right. They have their own thing. But it just mind boggles me how many blacklists are out there and how some of these IT guys in these companies use these off-the-wall blacklists to scan their incoming email for spam. Get a clue, guys. Come on. Let's use a little bit of logic here and a little bit of understanding that, hey, yeah, you might run a Fortune 500 company's IT infrastructure and you might be responsible for that email. All right, but why are you taking a company, a large company, and Atlanta has a bunch of large companies. So why are you using one of the most shadiest blacklists out there, that is next to impossible sometimes to get off unless you pay their fee, which is like, what are you guys thinking? Honestly. It mind boggles me more than anything. So anyways, I'm not going to harp on that subject a whole lot. It's just, my idea is, hey, let's have a unified blacklist provider, whether it be one. Now you're going to have, of course, opposite opinions. You're going to have, hey, we want the free open source ones, and then of course there's going to be the paid premium service ones, blah 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 blah, and that's fine. You've got a lot of them out there. For instance, like I said, Barracuda has their blacklist they use, and they also have their spamming tools. I like the AppRiver service. I actually do use the AppRiver service for a couple of our other companies that we have. AppRiver has a great service, so I'm not going to, they've got a good set of that. But before I signed up for any of these services, or before I even had a Barracuda, I did use a blacklist. I popped it right in my Exchange server or my SendMail server and said, hey, use this blacklist. And the blacklist I always used was Spamhaus. I never used anybody else. I never used SpamCop. I never used Sorbs or anybody. I always used Spamhaus. And that was good enough for me. And it worked great. Now, one thing that Spamhaus did to me this last time when I had to do it, when I had to go through it last week, that really kind of irritated me to a sense was I had another customer that I had partitioned some IPs out. I gave him a subnet. On this same block has the big software company that was on that same block. And so not only did Spamhaus say, hey, this IP address or this range right here, which was the company, the bigger company, it looks like they've got an open relay or something, so we're going to blacklist it till you take care of it. But also this range right here of this, of this /28 that you've assigned to this customer, which is, it's not SWIPed. And according to Aaron, everything has to be SWIPed now. Oh, duh, yeah, I know that. I just haven't had a time. It's a brand new customer. 2 days into it, yeah, I didn't SWIP it yet. So here's my question. Spamhaus, I love you guys, don't get me wrong, but you are not the internet authority on numbers, okay? Aaron, Ripe, all those guys, that's their job. And let them guys do their job. So don't blacklist a whole subnet for 16 IPs not being SWIPed to Aaron because I didn't have time on that day to do it. And so this is what I'm talking about. It's like you take something you do really good and then you start dabbling in something else you really don't know a whole lot about, and you just completely destroy a product. Take a prime example is some of the restaurant chains out there, and like fast food chains. And I'll be predominantly one fast food chain who decided, hey, we're going to go all out and offer all this junk. And what it do? It killed their stores. Spamhaus, stick to what you do and stick to what you know, which is blocking the world's spam, because you have a great service, so keep doing what you do really good. and leave the numbering resources and the SWIPing and all this other junk to each individual, to each country's respective agency that does it, which, here in the States is Aaron. So that's my take on that. And, like I said, if you want to chime in, and if you think, hey, oh, Bobby, you don't know what you're talking about, or, oh, that's stupid, or whatever, hey, I enjoy criticism, constructive criticism. Don't send me an email badgering me and saying all this, because I'll just delete it and not even pay attention to it. But, hey, email me. Like I said, bobbycannon@bobbycannon.me or bcannon@streamcom.net. I'll be more than happy to take your, to read your emails, and discuss them on the show, whatever I want to discuss them on. I just needed to get that out there because it just, like I said, it just kind of went off in my head that when I was doing this last week, I just wondered how many other data centers, or even how many other organizations out there that have their own IPs that have to sit there and do this management have to deal with this, because it is absolutely, some of it's insane, some of it's very easy, but it's just more of a headache for most of us, most engineers out there that have to go through and do this. And now I see why, larger organizations and larger companies have, dedicated staff that this is all they do. So, hey, more power to them. Let them roll through it and let them do everything. But anyways, guys, that's the topic I wanted to talk about today. I've got several other podcasts coming. I'm gonna start trying to turn out to about 2 or 3 a week. Make sure you check them out on the website www.capitalinternet.com. /blog, so I'm posting them up on my website at www.bobbycannon.me. You'll see them in there as well. I do have my little bio page up. I'm kind of tweaking the site a little bit. Remember, I'm doing it all by myself, so it's taking me a little bit of time to learn how to go through and change the colors and all that stuff, because I'm not a very good web developer. I'm more of an engineer type. Set me down in front of a router and I'll program it for you, but set me down in front of some CSS and I'm scratching my head like a monkey trying to figure out what a car key does. So, but anyways, thanks, guys. I appreciate you listening to it. Give me some comments, give me some feedback, and as always, stay safe out there. Good hunting.